if you're throwing that $60 pack of Costco ribeyes straight onto the grill and pulling them off at a perfect, bloody rare. You might be gambling with more than just a good dinner. Most people see that USDA Prime label and assume they're getting the gold standard of safety and quality. But if you look at the tiny, fine print on the back of the package, you'll see two words that change everything: blade tenderized. That means a machine with hundreds of tiny needles just punched through that meat, potentially pushing surface bacteria deep into the center of your steak. While the rest of the world tells you rare is the only way to eat beef, for these specific cuts, the USDA says you need to hit 145 degrees, a solid medium, to stay safe. Hey everyone, I'm Cody. I've spent over 15 years behind the scenes in the meat industry and high-volume food logistics. I've seen how the sausage gets made, literally, and today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the Costco meat department. We all love the warehouse prices, but there are things the guys in the white aprons aren't exactly shouting from the rooftops. If you want to stop overpaying for filler and start shopping like a professional butcher, you need to know what's actually happening behind that glass. But it gets even weirder when you move over to the ground beef. You've seen those massive, 10-pound chubs, those giant meat tubes that look like they belong in a cafeteria, right? Most shoppers walk right past them for the pretty, red trays of ground beef because the trays look fresher. Here's the secret: they aren't. In fact, those tubes are often a higher quality, leaner grind than what's on the display trays. The trays are usually ground in-house using the trim, the leftovers from cutting those steaks we just talked about. While that sounds fresh, it means the fat content in those trays can vary wildly. The tubes? They're vacuum sealed at the processing plant, meaning they haven't been exposed to oxygen. That's why they look a little purplish. But as soon as you open them up and the air hits, they bloom into a bright, beautiful red. You're getting a more consistent lean-to-fat ratio and, usually, a lower price per pound just because it's not pretty packed. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cody, I don't need 10 pounds of beef at once. But stick with me, because how you handle that bulk purchase is where the real money is made. If you're finding this helpful so far, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that actual humans care about what's in their food, and it helps me keep these investigations going. Now, you might be asking, because that bird has its own set of secrets that are currently landing Costco in some very hot water. You've seen them. Those golden, for $99 rotisserie chickens sitting under the heat lamps, looking like the ultimate grocery store win. It's the loss leader of all loss leaders. Costco actually loses money on every bird just to get you through the doors. But lately, that $5 bird has been landing Costco in some seriously hot water. We're not just talking about the salt, though we should be. Each serving has about 460 milligrams of sodium. That's because these birds are plumped, meaning they're injected with a massive amount of saline and additives like sodium phosphate and carrageenan to keep them juicy under those hot lights. Here's where it gets real. As of 2026, a major class action lawsuit is ripping through the courts, alleging that Costco's massive Nebraska poultry plant, the one they built specifically to keep that $4.99 price point, has been struggling with chronic salmonella issues. USDA records show this facility has hit Category 3 safety ratings, the worst possible rank, multiple times. The lawsuit claims the company prioritized that $5 price tag over fixing systemic contamination. So, while that chicken is a steal, you've got to be fanatical about how you handle it in your kitchen. Cross-contamination is not a joke when the plant it came from is under the federal microscope. But it's not just the chicken. Let's talk about the secret menu at the meat counter. Most people walk up to the glass, see a $200 pack of ribeyes, and walk away because they don't need 6 massive steaks. Here is the insider move. You can actually ask for smaller packs. If you see a butcher behind the glass, flag them down. They are often willing to take a large tray back and repackage a smaller portion for you. They won't advertise it, and during a Saturday rush, they might give you the side eye, but it's a standard service they provide. But if you want the real professional secret, the one that saves me hundreds of dollars a year, you stop looking at the pre-cut steaks entirely. Instead, look for the subprimal cuts. These are the giant, vacuum-sealed bags of meat, like a whole ribeye roast or a whole New York strip. When you buy the meat this way, you aren't paying for the butcher's labor to slice it. You can often save $3 to $5 per pound just by taking that bag home and slicing the steaks yourself with a sharp knife. You get to control the thickness, you get the trimmings for your own high-end burgers, and you keep that extra $40 in your pocket where it belongs. Now, you might be thinking, Cody, that's a lot of meat to handle at once. And you're right. Which leads us to the biggest trap in the entire department, the way Costco displays their choice versus prime beef, and the subtle trick they use with lighting and packaging to make you reach for the more expensive tray. So, you're standing there, staring at 2 trays of ribeyes. One is marked USDA Choice for $12.99 a pound, and the other is USDA Prime for $18.99. The Prime looks slightly better, maybe a bit more of those white flecks of fat, the marbling, that makes a steak melt in your mouth. But here's the marketing trap most people fall for. The choice at Costco is often better than the Prime at your local supermarket. The USDA grades beef based on the age of the cow and the marbling in the ribeye muscle. Because Costco moves such a massive volume of meat, they get the pick of the litter from the top suppliers. I've seen choice grade packs at Costco that have more marbling than the prime grade stuff at a standard grocery store. If you know what to look for those fine, white spiderwebs of fat, not the thick chunks on the edge. You can grab the choice pack and save yourself $30 or $40 on a single dinner. The prime label is a status symbol. The marbling is the flavor. Trust your eyes, not the sticker. Now, we've talked about the wins, but we have to talk about the one thing you should never buy at the Costco meat counter. It's the pre-marinated meats. I know, they look convenient. The street taco kits or the pre-seasoned garlic pepper tri-tip. But in my years in the industry, there's a common rule. You marinate what you can't sell fresh. When a cut of meat is getting close to its sell-by date and starts to lose that vibrant red color, the easiest way to extend its shelf life is to douse it in a heavy, salty marinade. The salt and acid act as a preservative, and the dark spices hide any graying of the meat. You're paying a premium price for the convenience, but you're often getting the oldest meat in the case, loaded with extra sodium and water weight. Do yourself a favor. Buy the fresh cut, grab a $5 bottle of seasoning from the spice aisle, and do it yourself. It'll taste better and you'll know exactly what's in it. The real secret to Costco isn't just the price, it's the strategy. If you avoid the needle tenderized traps, buy the chubs for your freezer, and learn to slice your own subprimals, you aren't just a shopper anymore. You're a pro. I've saved thousands of dollars over the years just by ignoring the flashy displays and looking at the fine print. And honestly, once you start cutting your own 2-inch thick ribeyes at home, you'll never go back to those thin, supermarket slices again. Stick with me, and I'll keep showing you how to navigate these warehouse aisles like an insider. Because at the end of the day, It's your money. Don't let the big box stores decide how you spend it.